My name is Duncan, and I'm an independent researcher. Usually the material I look for has to do with sports, health, personal development, music, and often I've always looked for them online, if not at the public library, and sometimes blog sites. So there's a very varied sources where I find my research. Yeah, many sources are deemed legal, like the public library, though there is a community out there of people that do file sharing, and they don't really consider themselves as pirating or doing an illegal activity. It's really more of a sharing. It's like a lending online community. So when you say terms like, is this illegal or is this piracy, those don't register with people that are sharing, because in their belief systems, it's more like sharing, community, and lending. This is basically how it happens. Let's say somebody gets a book on Amazon and they actually pay for it and they download it. And then they read it. They may be excited to share this material with their peer group, their friends. Hey, look what I just read. This would really be great if you read it too. I'm sharing it with you. And also, there is another thing online that you can do on Amazon. When I buy a book on Amazon, I can still share that with my friends, just like a library. So for instance, in an old model, if I had a book and I was in a community and I was passing that book through the community through my network of friends, then think of today's model especially, as somebody who has a piece of material online and is sharing it through different vehicles for their peer group to participate in and read online. So it's a completely different model. And anybody who is writing and wants to be compensated for the writing has to come to terms with the times that we're in. And the model is different than previously. If you're a writer and you're concerned about this, then you need to embrace the new models of monetizing your material. Online communities, blogs, you have to really build a presence for yourself. Unlike a long time ago where publishers did the marketing for you, you have to really be your own marketing. And writers have the gift and the ability of being, transcending that medium. You don't just have to write books. You can write a lot of material. You can be a ghostwriter, you can help other people, you can teach. There's a lot of ways. You just have to be creative and be open to different ways. So writers really need to embrace the online community, and not only embrace it and accept it, but be a part of it and participate. And stop looking at people as pirates and start looking at them as soldiers that are distributing their work for them. If you want to reach a mass audience and you want to get a message out there, then the money really doesn't play into effect, does it? The whole point is getting your message out there. And by joining an online community, you're really getting your word out there to as many people as possible. And then they're helping you distribute your message. The corporations, again, are using an old model. And that's why it's frustrating for them, because they're assuming that people are purposely downloading, and it's almost like they're taking it personally. It's not like that. You have a community of people that are sharing. That's it. That's about as basic as it gets. And for corporations, if they're really worried about that, again, you don't go after someone and criminalizing to make an example of it. You participate in the online community. Now, you can do that in many different ways. You can have a blog, you can support your writers that way. And even companies like Google are making large amounts of documents available to people. There's one project called the Guggenheim Project, which is putting a whole bunch of books online for free that Google participates in. For publishers especially, they have it easier than the music industry, because the music industry, where this started, this whole downloading thing, they've already made all the necessary arrangements and gone down that path. In fact, they've gone to now, instead of criminalizing people for downloading music, they've now offered these sites that you can go to and have access to all the music you want, and you pay a subscription fee. This way, everybody's getting paid. Now, publishers can follow in that footstep. They can follow that path that's already been laid out for them. They can offer their own publishing websites where they offer their exclusive authors, and you can pay a subscription fee, and you can have access to all the books you want. Makes it a little bit easier, and they're participating, and they're not criminalizing anymore. Anytime you bring in legal jargon and you try to apply it to a mass audience, it's not, nobody even knows what that means. You have to really put it in a terminology that the average person is going to recognize and acknowledge. And what is your motive? Is your motive to criminalize, or is it to educate? When you use jargon like that and you make it sound very serious and people are going to go to jail, you're criminalizing somebody. When you put it in terms that you want to educate somebody, you're coming from a completely different place, and you'll get a completely different response. So if, for instance, in my personal life, if I was to receive a notice saying, hey, by the way, we just want to let you know that what you're doing, the courts have deemed this as a legal activity. Any way we can help you break your habit of doing this, let us know, or we're going to do this. These are the actions we're going to take. It's completely different. It elicits my participation. However, if you send me a notice saying, cease and desist, or we're going to fine you $150,000, you're coming from a completely different place. And that's been tried before and it hasn't worked. How to educate people is to send them a notice from your internet service provider saying that, hey, what you're doing is illegal. It's a reminder notice. And sending them several reminders and then maybe limiting their bandwidth as for those capital offenders would be a great way of not just penalizing somebody, but you're weaning somebody off their habits. And this is really important, is when people have a habit, it's an automatic response. They don't mean to do anything illegal. It's just, they spend so much time online. They date online. They find cooking recipes online. They read material online. They get their news online. They're part of this community. A lot of times they don't realize they're doing anything illegal.
When I was trying to market my book to students, to professors actually, to be able to allow their students to have a good view of before they went out to the work world, the professors, some of my professor friends who I've known since grad school basically told me that there's an unwritten law that professors never use books that are written by outsiders. In other words, they only buy books from other professors. And the reason is because these professors have a captive audience. The students can't go anywhere else for these books, so basically they overcharge these students. That's why graduate books cost like $300 to $500 a copy, which is ridiculous. And so some of the students I spoke to at grad schools told me that they have a way of getting around this. They basically have an underground system where one of them makes copies of the books and they provide it free for all students. And I think they're kind of justified in this, because if you think about it, the professors teach them how to be ethical, and yet the same professors that teach them how to be ethical are being unethical by overcharging them with these books, because it only costs $10, $20 to publish the book, and yet they're charging them $300 to $500 just to make extra money. And I think that's the students are kind of justified in the pirating that they do.